To get started, let's talk about equipment. I am not going to spend a whole lot of time on equipment because you're going to want to get started on this and you're probably just going to use what you have on hand. Most likely it's going to be an iPad or a tablet of some kind or a phone, possibly a camera. So when I'm videoing, like for example, this is actually being shot on a Canon camcorder, which is very similar to this one. Advantages are I can flip the screen so that I can actually see myself as I'm recording. It's expensive, yes, but it's a really good high quality product. If you have a DSLR, these all have movie functions on them, so you could also use something like this to video yourself. Internal microphones on both of these are pretty good. You could also use an external microphone, and we'll talk about that in a minute. iPads are great. Wonderful thing about iPads and about your phone is that inside you have the software that you could actually edit and produce your whole movie right here and not even have to transfer anything. So we will be doing our filming today using an iPad, using an iPhone. The other thing is GoPro. GoPros are okay, except the microphones are terrible. So I wouldn't use that for talking. Really good for doing time-lapse though. I have used these for shooting time-lapse. And webcams are fine too. You can plug these into your computer, set it up, do your tutorial in front of your computer. A downside of the webcam is you don't have a lot of focus ability, so sometimes the webcam will go in focus and then it'll go out of focus, especially when you're trying to do a demonstration. So that is kind of the very basic, and of course you can always use the camera that's on your laptop if you're just doing a tutorial where you're just talking to somebody. So that's just very fast equipment basics. Let's focus in on the iPad and the iPhone. First, let's talk about lighting before we start actually filming something. We're talking about lighting, talk a little bit about your space and tripods. So when you're filming, you want to keep your video steady, so a tripod's going to be essential. You can have very expensive tripods, such as this one. This has a really good head on the top that has the ability for me to pan real slowly. This is a great tripod, very heavy, very expensive. I also have some cheaper ones. This is a sun pack. It's very lightweight. It folds up really easy. I like to use this. I have 3 of these. Actually, I think one of them finally broke down. But I use these quite a bit. The problem with these, they're very wiggly. So if you have a heavy piece of equipment, like a camcorder or your digital single lens reflex, you're not going to want to use this guy because it wiggles a lot. Cowever, if you're using your iPhone, iPad, this works great. And these are pretty reasonable too. These are under $50. You could probably get one of these for $25. These are also really inexpensive. The flexible tripods, they come in lots of different sizes, from little teeny tiny to fairly big. The nice thing about these is you can wrap them around things so that if you have a weird location, maybe you want to wrap around a pole, this will allow you to do that. The tops of these release, they have like a quick release, which is really nice. And then this is an iPad holder. This is an iPhone holder. These are really essential and very helpful. And they just attach with the threading. It's basic threading, attaches, holds your phone in place, holds your iPad in place while you're filming. So what if you don't have these and you want to get started right away? Well, you can take an item like a cup. And this is not an original idea. I saw this on the internet. Love the internet. You could take a cup, you could take a box, cut some little notches in it, and then you can slide your phone down in and you're ready to film. Now with the iPad, I wouldn't use the cup. I'd use something a little sturdier and realize that this is, if a gust of wind comes up, this is going to go. So just be careful when you're using these. What if you're doing a top down and you want to film from up above? Well, you can take a tripod, adjust the legs, take the head of the tripod, point it all the way down, and you'll get a pretty good demonstration area. You still might have a little bit of that keystoning or trapezoid look, but it should be pretty good. If you want to be completely top down and you don't have a tripod that has an arm that comes out, where you can attach and shoot down. If you don't have that, try and find something in your studio. I have these laying around. Something where you can angle your camera on your phone, here's my camera, or on your iPad, and you can be working down below and then just filming like this. It doesn't have to be a wire thing like this. I have a plant stand that I use that goes up a little higher if I want to shoot from a little higher up. So you can kind of jerry-rig some things in your studio. You're creative, you can do it. Just be careful that whatever you do, you don't break your phone. So make sure it's sturdy enough that it's not going to tip over. So tripods are essential for stabilizing your image. Let's move on and talk a little bit about the lighting. So lighting is important, but it's not going to make or break your video if you really pay attention to a few things. If you want to go all out and you really want to start doing some productions that are pretty high quality, you're probably going to want to invest in some of these LED lights that just flood the area. Right now, I have two of these on, one on this side and one on this side, and they're flooding me with light. And they're also flooding my workspace with light, which is really nice. If you're not ready to invest in these are kind of pricey. They're probably about $150 a piece, and then they come with a stand, which is really nice. Sometimes I use the stands for other things too. So these are called Generays. There's lots of different brands. They also sell some that they're the little lights, the LED lights in a ring with the middle open, and you can place your iPhone or iPad right in the middle and be shining, and it just shines right on you. They call them selfie lights. I like to call them diva lights because I'm such a diva. Not really. If you don't have those, but you have some shop lights work really great. I used these for years before I saved up enough money to buy some of these Generays. So shop lights work really well, and they have the little clamps and you can clamp them onto things. So what if you want to get started right away and you don't have a lot of lighting at all? Then you're going to need to figure out a situation like filming next to a window where you get a lot of natural light coming in, especially if you're doing a demonstration. So I'm going to show you a couple of things to avoid with the lighting. Let's talk about backlighting. So here I have a couple of sculptures that I'm working on, and as you can see, I'm backlit. So I'm basically in silhouette, you can't see me at all. Now if I move in front of the window a little bit, my camera might adjust and focus on me with the lighting a little better, but it's really going to be hard. You're either going to have a video camera that has the ability to be set so the backlighting changes, or just move your camera. So you can solve your backlighting issue just by moving your camera so that it's in front of the window and the light is shining on you. Here you could be doing a demo that people could actually see you. I still would set up a couple of spotlights to give me a little more lighting, but this works. So just watch your backlighting, make sure that your light source is coming at you. When you're filming, your workspace needs to be something that you consider. If you have a lot of projects going on, like in this case, I have several of these little sculptures that I'm working on. This is very busy and kind of hard for people to look at. They're going to want to spend time looking at all of the things and being curious about what I have going on, and so I really need to clear this off and have just one spot where people can focus on, so that's going to help. The other thing I want to talk about is looking at the camera. When you're giving an interview, usually you're instructed to look at the interview person, to be looking slightly off camera. In this case, you want to be looking right down the camera, which is a little weird, it's a little disconcerting. I feel like I'm talking to Hal in, the Space Odyssey 2001. But it is very important that you make that connection with people. So for example, if I'm looking at the screen, which sometimes you'll catch me doing that, so I'm looking at my video screen to see what I look like, instead of looking at the camera. And you'll notice the total difference of me actually looking at you through the camera than if I'm looking at the screen. So try and keep that in mind. When you're filming, always be aware of what's going on in your background. You don't want any questionable artwork behind you that might get you in trouble. I find that my setup works really good if I just have my general background with some tools and things, and then I have my workspace in front of me, and it keeps it kind of consistent from video to video. So let's talk a little bit about microphones, just to touch on it very quickly. As you can tell, the acoustics in my studio, a lot of reverb going on. I'm going to invest in getting a wireless microphone that I can wear, and then it will capture my voice and it'll cut down on the sound issue. So a microphone would be a great idea. There are external microphones. This is just a little handy recorder. I think it's made by Zoom. And it works really nice. This is an older one. I'm sure they even have better ones now. And also you can buy add-ons for your camcorder or your DSLR. This fits into the little top shoe, the little slot at the top, and then it plugs in and it has a little better audio quality. But if you don't have any of that, you can make do. If you're doing a demonstration where you are far away from the camera, you'll probably have to do all of your video recording, bring it into your editing program, and then do some voiceover, and that works too. All right, so we've covered some things. We covered it very quickly, and I apologize. But what we really want to get into, I think what you really want me to get into, is the filming of this, and then spending most of our time on working in iMovie, and then also working with a little bit of Premiere. So I'll show you those two programs. All right, let's carry on.